Hello, hello, wild web world. Let me get my camera here in my not so high-tech equipment going here. We are live and we are spooling an audience. So welcome to CSquad Racing Show, the live version. We're going to be here tonight with South Dakota Midwest Modified Racer Tony Konold, excuse me, and while we spool up an audience, it's ever growing. Hi there, Lane and Jeremy and Lindsay and everybody else. Is the sound coming through loud and clear? The CSquad Racing Show is sponsored by Redheaded Rebel Brew Coffee, fuel for the entrepreneur, the game changer, the rule breaker, and Rebel gourmet coffee. Free gift notes with that, as well as Weir's Machine that makes trick stuff for race cars. And glad to hear you can hear me, everyone. So to give a quick rundown of my weekend, which has been kind of customary, we went to Madison Speedway Friday night and we raced at 45-degree weather. I think I went like 8th to 4th in the heat, which put me into a pole of a B main, of which I finished 3rd by a hair as I led a little bit and then got past. And I was in 2nd, and then Vandy Camp, another gentleman, 1X car, almost passed me at the line. We started 23rd, and it felt like I passed 100 cars, but we only finished 20th. And a few people fell out, so I may not have passed anyone. The next night, we got a little more luckier with the draw. Drew through 3rd, and won the heat. Drew outside pole, and then led for a little bit, and then got passed by Cole Searing, like I was on jack stands. Well, I think he kind of slowed up so we could race side by side a couple of laps, and then he gave me the nod, and then he was gone. And then Vandy Camp passed me the line. We got 3rd. And then we went to one of our home tracks, Cheyenne River, for the Battle at Boneyard, and drew 6th. I started 6th in the heat, finished 3rd, drew pole, and it was a nice little line of traction on the bottom that I got into first and stayed there for 20 straight laps. The real notes in won, so it was really cool, getting the 16th win of the year. And I think it moved us up in points, but who's counting, right? No, I think we might have squeaked it into 4th place, one ahead of Wheeler. So we got 2 more weekends of racing for the Wissota folks. You got Viking Speedway and the big old half mile, which I hope to be at again, since I've got 3 nights of 45-degree weather racing in. I'll be ready for, and of course you got Ogilvie, the other fall classic for people who want to go to Ogilvie. They'll be racing 2 nights, Friday, Saturday, and then the following weekend is like the Battle at the Border in Superior, which I've never been to. If we do go to it, it'd be our 26th track of the year. Anyway, enough about me. We've got an audience built, so let's get into our guest tonight. Welcome, Tony Konold. Are you there? Hey, Tony. Thanks for joining us. So for folks that don't know, Tony's from Clear Lake, South Dakota, and he currently races a Midwest Mod, and he's raced some other things. So, Tony, for people who haven't yet met you or may not know you that well, how about a quick 101 on who is Tony Konold?
Well, I'm an electrician. I own an electrical company, contracting company, and I have 3 kids. Kind of a regular guy. I mean, we just racing's kind of our, it's like our vacation, I guess, all summer long, and do is eat, breathe, and sleep racing. So.
Oh, awesome! So you're a 2nd-generation racer.
Right. Yep. My dad raced and my uncle raced.
Oh yeah. What'd they race?
My dad raced pretty well everything, and that's kind of what got me started in racing. Was my dad to fulfill his dream to race sprint cars. That was the only thing he hadn't raced. And so when I was, I think, 13 or 14 years old, we got 2 sprint cars.
Oh, wow. You don't see that in the garage every day.
No, it was probably to this day, still the biggest rush I've ever had racing was driving a sprint car.
Oh wow! So you've driven a sprint car. The full wings or wingless or?
I have drove them both ways. We had a racetrack at my dad's. I've driven them with a wing on, and I raced at I-90 Speedway with the wings off. And I wanted to race at that time. Sprint cars were Wissota sanctioned, and I wasn't old enough to race sprint cars, so I didn't get to race them around here.
Oh, okay. So, wow. So anyone who, in my book, anyone who's raced a sprint car is like one level crazier than most. So, what's it like to drive a sprint car? Just out of curiosity.
It's pretty wild. It is crazy. It's I did it before I had any fear of anything. But strap back into one right now. It's a different feeling than what we get racing a B mod or a street stock or a pure stock or something. They race totally different than anything that we drive now.
From a spectator's standpoint, it looks like controlled chaos.
You don't have much control of them at all. It's all you drive them with your feet. The steering wheel is pretty well there just to hang on to.
All right. So let's tell us about you're an electrician and you're married. You got some 3 kids. And so how long you been racing the Midwest Modified?
I started racing B mods in 2010, so about 8 years now.
8 years. And
Yep.
what? And you've had a pretty good season this year. You're in the top 10 in national points, I believe. I haven't looked real close lately, but you've been racing a fair amount, winning. How many wins you got this year?
We got 8 wins this year.
8 wins, awesome.
Yep.
The how many different tracks you been to? I know I'd seen you'd had a win in Casper Speedway. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we went out to Casper, raced there twice. Raced at Gillette a couple times, Rapid City, Aberdeen, Watertown, Madison. I think that's about it that we've been to this year.
Yeah, I was there the night you won. I was racing the Stampede the first night, but the second night I watched you win and just smoke them when there in Watertown on the bottom there. You were really hooked up.
I really like around the bottom. If I can get to the bottom, that's where I feel comfortable at.
What else have you raced? Have you raced? You've done a wingless sprint, and so then any other kind of race cars?
Yeah, from a wingless sprint, I went to a pure stock because my mom kind of put a stop to the dangerous, she thought. So I raced a pure stock for a year, and then street stock I raced for probably 6 or 7 years, I think.
Oh, awesome. And so what's it from a pure stock to a Midwest Mod? What's the difference?
Quite a bit. I don't know. The B mod I feel is more fun in a B mod than a street stock. I guess I think they're funner to drive. They're harder to drive. I think to a certain extent. They're easier to work on. I'd rather work on a B mod than a street stock any day.
Yeah, I agree with you there. My first 2 years, I guess I drove street stock, and then once I jumped into Midwest Mod, I thought, yeah, I like this a lot better. Not that, I love watching streets, but boy, that's some skill there to wheel one of those things, in my opinion, that I never had. But although there's a part of me that wouldn't mind now after racing a Midwest Mod for 9 years of trying a street just to see, my last 2 nights racing, I had a B mod and a street at the same time. My last 2 nights, Spencer Johnson let me borrow his wheel. I'd raced 2, and he had like this huge wheel in a street stock, and it was like night and day difference. It's like, guys, why didn't you tell me this 2 years ago? But anyway, when you got into the Midwest Mods, was that when it was the open suspension or whatever?
Yeah, I got to run 1 year with the open suspension, and then after that, the rules changed to the 3-link deal.
What's your thoughts on that? On should B mod just be 3-link and keep it that way, or would you like a little more open or a little more adjustability?
I like the 3-link deal. I think it's a good way for new guys to be able to compete fairly quickly and not have to learn the suspension part of it. But I would like to see it opened up a little bit where we don't have the 5-degree rule.
Can you repeat that last part, Tony? Might have a smurf in the internet connection here.
I'd like to see them open up the 5-degree rule on our suspension with the bars, so a guy could adjust the bars a little bit.
Yeah. Cool.
Other than I don't mind the 3-link deal. It's fairly forgiving. You don't have to be. It seems like you can be off a little bit and still be fairly competitive. You don't have to hit it on the nose every night.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The certainly. I think it's a little bit easier kind of setup to run than a 4-link, in my opinion, anyway. What do you have any pre-race rituals that you do before you get ready to race?
I guess the only thing we do, we kind of get in the car the same every night, and my buddy Austin is always there to help me strap in and gives me a fist bump before every race. And then my kids give me a thumbs up and a number 1 before I go out every time. No matter where we start, if it's 25th or the pole, I get a number 1 every night. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. At your the tracks you've been to so far this year, which ones kind of any tracks that are your favorite that you really like racing?
I really like racing in Madison. I like it when it slicks off and gets smooth and clean from top to bottom. I like going to Watertown. It's kind of one of those tracks you kind of hate it and you kind of love it at the same time. And always been that way. But I grew up and learned how to drive on a 1/4-mile bull ring, and that's the reason I like going there.
Mm-hmm.
Out west too, to some of those tracks, you know, that they were slick from hot laps. Were slick.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would be definitely probably Gillette and Casper.
Right.
So you got 8 wins this year. You've been to tracks in South Dakota, Minnesota, Wyoming. What's the coolest race you've been in this year? Tell us a little bit about one of your wins or one of the, you know.
I think the coolest race is, I don't know, I won a couple races in Watertown starting 10th, I think, and I don't know, it's kind of fun to race there and come from the back like that because there's so many heavy hitters in Watertown that could win every night.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. So weaving in and out of traffic on that small little track, it can be, well, the first time I was there this year, I can't remember where I started, but I think I started probably like 15th. Felt like I passed 35 cars and finished like 13th or something. But I mean, it's so tight. You're always in traffic. I'm guessing, do you get to lap, you know, in some of your wins, have you gotten into lap traffic then pretty quickly?
Yeah, it happens there pretty quickly with being it's a 20-lap race, and it is really short, and get to lap traffic pretty quick sometimes. And I know the last night there, we got into lap traffic, and I think I've watched it a few times, and the lap traffic helped me out, that's for sure. You know, I think Mike was making up maybe a little ground on the top there, and the lap traffic kind of put a stop to that. So,
so on the lap traffic, are you that the lap traffic should get the blue and yellow flag, or not get the blue and yellow flag? What's your opinion on that?
I think they should not give the blue and yellow flag. I feel that when the lap traffic sees that, it gets them kind of flustered or nervous about the leaders coming, and they tend to change their line or do something erratic right in front of you. Well, we've been watching for, when we're coming up on lap traffic, and you've been watching where they've been racing, you kind of trying to figure out where you're going to pass them, especially if you're on a one-lane track, or how you're going to make it happen. And if they change right in front of you, it can really do things up.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you there too. From when I was a newer person, not that I haven't been in lap traffic since, but when I was newer, I certainly got the lap traffic sign a little bit more. But I always be like panic, trying to hold my line. From my experience of racing through lap traffic, it seems like, well, one of my wins this year was at Lisbon earlier in the year, and I was in the lap traffic on the bottom, and Ranky was reeling me in on the high side, but as I would pass these guys, then they'd go to the high side, and one of them eventually put Ranky into the wall, trying to get out of my way, where I think sometimes when they get that flag, it makes them panic, so I'd rather them not get the flag too. So, hey, a quick, what's your thoughts on that you would have for, say, someone who's a new driver, whether it's to a Midwest Mod or any racing class, if they're kind of new, any tips you'd have for the young Tony Konold rookie racer that you would pass on to someone?
The biggest thing I think is guys come in thinking they're going to come out and win right away and want to go full bore before they actually learn their cars or learn how it feels to be on the racetrack. I think the biggest thing is don't be ashamed of taking the back for a couple nights, figuring things out, getting in touch with your car before you try and pass somebody. That'd be my biggest advice is, learn your car, learn how it feels on the track, get the feel of it before you try and pass somebody. Just, follow somebody that you can trust or that you want to learn from, and learn how to drive your car on the track before you try and pass cars and cause.
Yep, that's some good tips for the new driver. What do you do to kind of keep a good attitude when things go sideways? Obviously, racers have mechanical issues sometimes and have calls go against you that look like they shouldn't have, et cetera, et cetera. What do you do to kind of keep a positive attitude?
Well, as I get older, my temper gets better and not as bad as I used to be pretty hothead, but usually I can look to my wife and she kind of calms me down. That's a lot of it, to stay calm, and she just kind of gives you that look, and you better not do something all night. So
yeah,
she helps out with that. My pit guys, they try and keep me positive when we wreck and stuff. I get pretty down. I'm really competitive, and when things don't go our way, I tend to get kind of down, and my pit guys kind of keep me going, and then also my kids, they love the racing, and you remember that you're there, and they see everything that you're doing, and you think in the back of your mind that you want to be a role model for how you want them to race someday, or how you want them to treat other people as.
Can you repeat that part? We're losing you again, Tony, on the speaker or on the mic.
I just want, I keep in the back of my mind that my kids are there watching. They are like a sponge. They see everything and they hear everything. You got to remember that, you don't want to go do something that you wouldn't want your kids to do to somebody, or act like, things get kind of heated once in a while, and you just kind of got to calm down and think about it, and remember that you want to be a good role model for the young kids, and not just my kids, for anybody's kids that are there, or the fans, or kids sitting in the stand. You got to remember that there's other people watching, not just what you think in your head.
Yeah, that's some great insight, Tony. Yeah, some great insight. What I'm going to do a quick this or that with you on do you race for points or race for wins?
I'm always racing to win.
And then slick or hammer down?
Slick for sure.
Slick. All right. Passing point for lineups. Do you prefer passing points or point average?
I wish they'd go more passing point shows instead of the point average deal.
How about bull ring or half mile?
Bull ring.
Bull ring. Ditch or high side?
I love the ditch.
What's your most wanted win?
I don't know. I've never really thought of that yet. I would probably be some special that we go to in the winter or something down south, or a different sanctioning body with different rules. It'd be kind of fun to go and pick a win off at something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of that, you went down south and raced an IMCA Sport Mod for a week or so, or a weekend?
Yep, we went to Las Vegas a few years back and raced the duel in the desert.
Did you win at the track or at the casino? Or neither?
I won at the track a heat race, or I think I won a heat race and ended up getting 8th in the feature.
Oh, that's awesome for a guy. What do you think? So if a Wissota Midwest Mod guy wanted to race an IMCA Sport Mod, any tips there? What was it like? Was it difficult to transition to a little harder tires?
Yeah, that was kind of the fun part. I bought some like 2 or 3 year old tires and come on and went racing. It was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's quite a bit of difference there. We had to do some stuff to the motor to make it legal. Different transmissions. The suspension is different, but the rules are more open as far as their bars and where you can put your shocks and that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It was a fun experience, I guess. I want to go again, that's for sure.
Did you use the same car you have now and just do the adjustments before you went down south?
At that time, I was racing a BMS, which is an IMCA chassis anyway. So we had it all changed over for Wissota. And so we had all the mounts and everything on that car to go IMCA. So that was probably the easier part of it because that car was built for that.
Yeah. Very cool. Are any plans to do some racing this winter?
We actually were about 3 clicks on the computer away from booking our rooms to go back to Vegas and race this year, but I have since then gotten a ton of work to do, and a bunch of bids went through that I've put in, and so I'm not going to be able to take a week off to go to.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta take care of gotta make hay when the sun's shining. Hey, quick question about electricity. Is there a quick way to explain the difference between AC and DC?
AC stands for alternating current, which actually, like your light bulbs and stuff, they're flashing 60 times a second. And that's why in the United States we're 60 hertz. So that's how many times that the current is going from the breaker out to the whatever you got plugged in, light or whatever, and back. And all the time, 60 times a second. And DC current there's always current running on your positive lead.
Oh,
so
yeah.
DC is direct current.
Direct current. Okay, cool. So if someone has an electrical problem at the track, should they come see you?
I've actually fixed a few things at racetracks before to get the show going.
Oh yeah, a few lights. Were you the guy who got the lights back on when they go out?
Yeah, I've done that at Watertown and in Madison before. I've helped with the light going out or other issues there. And if you have electrical problems on your cars, I'm not really good. So.
Yeah, I had a electrical anyway. Always keep, my racing tip that I forgot to mention is always keep fire extinguishers in your trailer and in your shop, because you never know when the alternator wire may arc onto your intake that has gas on it and go woof, and you have a shot fire and have to put it out, because that just happened last week at my shop. It was a weird kind of deal. The alternator wire was rubbing against the water pressure fitting, and it rubbed a little hole in it and arced right at the wrong time and caught on fire, and we were all scrambling, but we got about 8 fire extinguishers in the shop, and a couple of them went all over the car, and put it out. Nobody got hurt, so that was a good thing. But anyway, quick sponsor break on Weir's Machine. Do you use Weir's Machine, any Weir's Machine products on your car, Tony?
Yeah, we use a lot of Weir's Machine stuff.
Oh yeah, do you use like their any particular product that you think is pretty cool that they make?
I use the trailing arms, and I use the 3-link brackets, the double shear brackets, the spring cups that you can take out. I don't know. We use quite a bit of Weir stuff on our cars.
Yeah, me too. They make trick stuff for race cars. You can go to weirsmachine.com or check them out on Facebook. Let them know that the sweet CSquad crew sent you. Couple of more things before we sign off. How's your good season this year? Is it a normal season, great season for you?
I would say it's been a pretty good season. We had probably a month in the middle of the year that was kind of tough on us. We had some steering issues, and we're fighting a ill handling race car for a while, but we got things turned around, and it's been good since then.
Oh yeah, what was up with the steering? Was it a steering box or what?
Well, I replaced the sweet box. I replaced the pump, replaced the lines. We replaced everything you could think of, probably twice. And then I put another steering. Actually, I stole the steering pump off of my sister's street stock, and all right now.
The steering pump off of her car.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So you got a sister that races too. That's cool. Any other family members race?
My brother used to race street stocks here a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah. Cool. So are you faster than your sister? Or your sister faster than you, or you've never figured it out?
Well, that's probably a whole nother story.
Okay. So do you keep a little something in the shop that? Never mind. We'll let the sibling stuff go there for a minute. Any big shows you're looking forward to? Are you done racing this year? Or you still got a few more shows?
I think we're done for the year. I just have so much work to get caught up on, and everything's kind of piling up here as far as work goes. We're a bunch of projects that are going to be taken off at the same time, and so we're just we're going to call it a year and leave it at that.
Okay. When you're racing, do you talk to yourself?
Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah. What do you tell me? What does Tony say to himself?
Usually I'm pretty quiet, except for like the last lap or something. Especially when if we're out front, I'm kind of talking myself through the last lap to, okay, you got to lift now. Just be smooth, hit the mark, and if you hit it, oh, that was a good corner, or and just kind of stuff like that. And I talk to myself on cautions, or probably more yelling at my pit guys, trying to get them to tell me what I want them to tell me. But
do your pit guys coach you or give you feedback?
Yeah, on cautions they do. They kind of tell me. I don't know. I don't really know what they tell me. I guess we've been together for so long that we kind of understand what each other's saying, and that helps. It's to know, if they see something different, or and I can kind of give them hand signals, and they kind of know what I'm wondering too. So.
Very cool. Anything that you've seen at a track that you've experienced that you thought was really cool that you think more tracks should do?
I think it's cool that some tracks come and interview you after you win. I think it's you get that, the fans get to see that raw emotion of a guy that's just won, or a girl, or whatever it may be. You get to see how excited we are to win. Even after we've won umpteen times, you still get that feeling of excitement and joy, and it's good for us to get to talk about our sponsors and to thank people that we need to thank, and I'd like to see more tracks do that.
Yeah, I like it when they do that too. I think it helps connect fans to drivers, and oftentimes someone might, even myself, I might know someone's car, but have never actually met the gal or guy that drives it because, for whatever reason. But so I always like it when they do interviews, either before or after. So yeah, that's really cool when tracks do that. Who are the people and partners that help your racing team?
Well, I put a list together because I didn't want to forget anybody here, because without the sponsors, it'd be pretty hard to make it happen every year and race as hard as we do. So Hare & Company, Konold Farms, Countryside Auto Body, Magic Mile Casino Laundry and Car Wash, Tractor Stands, Long Arm Quilting and Embroidery by Karen, ABG Ag Service, S-Line Rodeo, Jackrabbit Tire, Burt by Craig, Casey Bossert Motorsports, Haler Automotive, Toronto Cafe and Lounge, Dirty Tees, PC Ag, Shop, Konold Electric, the Realty Team, Sheehan Trailers, Cutting Edge Window Tint, and War Shocks by CDR, and Adams Automotive Race Engines.
Very cool. So if there was an intro song, if you were racing dirt in December and you were being introduced, what would be your intro song?
Probably Not Sorry from Demi Lovato.
All right, sounds good. Hey, before we sign off, for the folks watching, any question, I'm going to do a good job on actually, if you have a question for Tony, ask it right now, and I'll ask Tony before we sign off. Next week, CSquad Live will be on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. because football is Monday night, and it never pays to compete with football unless you're a football team. But anyway, so if anybody has any questions, hey Dylan, Nick, Jeff, anybody got questions? We haven't paused out here, or maybe my little thing has. So rank in order of importance, Tony. If you got the race car, you got the driver, you got the motor. What is like most important?
It's kind of a combination of a lot of all those. I mean, you gotta have a decent car. You have good equipment. You gotta have a good motor to pull you around, but you also need to be able to drive too. Your car could be off a little bit, and if you can adapt to the track or adapt to how things are or change how you're driving, you can make a off race car pretty quick sometimes.
Great. I got a quick question for you from Jason Marco. Who's your biggest on the track rival?
I don't know. There's a rival. Probably Scott Hansen.
Okay, and he's someone you race week in, week out at a lot of tracks?
Yeah, we race against each other pretty well every night.
Oh, yeah.
How he goes, so.
Yep, yeah, it seems like, is there any particular driver you really like racing against, like that stands out to you that, hey, I love going side by side with this guy?
I like racing with Tim Canton. I've become really good friends with Tim, and I like racing with him. Lauren Johnson's fun to race with. Dan Wheeler's fun to race with when he comes around. Mm-hmm. I like racing with you when you come around. It's fun.
Yeah, it's always fun having some. Although most of the time this year that you and I have raced, it's me looking at the rear of your car as you pass me. But anyway, but I guess we have gotten a few laps together side by side. Before we sign off here, there's something that popped in my mind and it left my mind, and so, but I want to ask it, and it was something. What kind of race car you mentioned your race car? What kind of car are you driving now? Is it a secret or is it?
No, I have a dirt nymph chassis. Lyndon Johnson builds them down by Sioux Falls or Montrose is where he's from.
Oh, okay, very cool. So kind of a South Dakota built car, and then
Yep.
How do you learn more about suspension? Like how do you improve yourself as a racer? Last question, I promise.
We talk a lot with our chassis builder, and Lyndon races himself, and then there's Tracy and Tyler Johnson. They both race, so we all talk to each other. We all have different setups. We all drive different. We bounce ideas back and forth. And then you can learn a lot by going on the internet and Googling things like, what does this bar do if you move it here, or what does this do? It's a lot of trial and error. It's kind of, you don't have like a huge like Shaw's or something like that where there's 5,000 cars out there to get feedback from. So we all kind of try things and back and forth with each other. We come up with what works best for each of us.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I think it's always important. They always keep learning and trying. Well, thank you very much, Tony, for coming on to the CSquad Racing Show. Do you have any tips for me as a interviewer? Anything I should be doing that I'm not, or anything I should stop doing that I am?
No, I think it was great. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You just heard Tony Konold from Clear Lake, South Dakota, Wissota MW Mod driver, share a little bit about himself and his race team, and the sponsors for the show are our Redheaded Rebel Brew Coffee and Weir's Machine, and there's also a little link in the feed for RHR Swag cockpit lights, so you don't have to strap in the dark. Next show, we'll have another kick-ass guest next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. live, and may even try to get 2 guests to make it interesting. So have a safe week, and remember to leave it better than you found it. And until next time, smile. Thanks again, Tony.
Thank you.